welcome to Inkquiring Minds. My name is Doug and I'm back with another Pen Resurrection Sunday video. Today we're not going to actually restore anything. I'm just going to show you how to polish plastic on fountain pens. And I've got a couple of dead fountain pens here, and these pens are going to remain dead. These are both Sheaffer Imperial. This one's a Snorkel and this one's a Touchdown, and they're both broken beyond repair. This one actually has been melted. But they're great examples of pen material, plastic from the 1950s. This is late 50s, and these pens have gone through the wars. Lots and lots of wear over the years. So I'm going to show you how I go about turning this old, crappy looking plastic into bright, brand new, shiny fountain pens. And we'll work on some of the gold as well. This gold plated cap and this gold plated clip, examples of late 50s, early 60s plating from Sheaffer, very deep. It looks really worn and old, but this can come back up bright as well. So we're going to look at polishing plastic and polishing gold. Generally what I do is I look at the pen and look at it carefully with my magnifying goggles and take a look to see how deep some of these scratches are, because that will determine on what kind of abrasive sandpapers we go after it with. I have Micromesh from 1500 grit through to 12,000 grit right here, and what we do is we take the coarsest of those grits, which is 1500, and we take a look. Let's take a look at this one here. I'm just going to take this pen apart a little bit so we can get at just the plastic. And there are some gouges there that might require a little bit more grit than 1500, but I go over it with the 1500 first, and then that actually highlights where some of the deeper scratches are, like that one right there might be too deep for the 1500 to erase. We also want to avoid any imprints with the first levels of grade. I generally go up to about 4000 grit before I start going over some of those imprints so that I don't erase them with those coarse grits. So let's go after some of this. There's a scratch right there that I think I might want to try to get out. And we're just going to do parts of this pen so you can see the contrast with the other parts that are unpolished. So this is 1500 grit. Sometimes to get a better grip on a pen, I'll put a pencil inside just to hold it in place. And then we take a close-up to see whether we've erased all of the scratches. A little bit of a divot right there. Let's see whether we can get rid of that. So it's like using an eraser. You want to erase any divots and scratches, and I'm not going to worry about that. That's all melted. Let's just polish this side of this burgundy pen. And let's do the green cap as well. What I like to do is put some low-tack masking tape around the gold bits, just like that, and then I'll avoid the gold clip. Like sometimes I've put masking tape on these clips, but I can generally, with the Micromesh, fit the pad around those clips. And we see we have a nice long crack down the middle of this one, so this pen is already toast. But let's polish the back of this cap. We've got a couple of scratches there. We'll see whether we can get them out with the 1500 grit. And this works on plastic, acrylic, and celluloid, and even ebonite. But ebonite is a special case, and you need to take special care with ebonite, because when you sand it, it turns brown. Let's go over this side here. There's a couple of scratches in there that I want to see if I can get out. Now there's an example. I've gone over it with the 1500. You can see how it's brought that scratch into sharp relief. So I'm just going to, for that little bit, try to erase that scratch with some 400 grit flexible sandpaper. The 400 grit takes off a lot more material, but there, I've erased it. I'll go over that same spot with the 1500. There we go. And all of those scratches and wear marks are gone after that plastic right there. So now we go up through the Micromesh from 1800 through 12,000, and when we get to around 4,000, 3,600, I'll take that masking tape off. These finer grits will start polishing that gold as well. 1800. 2400. 3200. 3600. 'Now I'm going to take off this masking tape and we'll go to 4000. 6000. 8000. And 12,000. And there we go with the Micromesh. Looks a lot better than the other side. And now we go at it with some polishing compounds on my Dremel buffer. First pass on my Dremel buffer, I use Mirror Glaze number 9 from Meguiar's, Swill Remover 2, and then the second pass I use Anderson Pen's Micro Gloss number 1, which is a fine cut polish. So I'm wearing my camera on my chest at the moment, so I'm not going to be able to see how well I'm lining this up. But here's my Dremel tool. It's actually a Ryobi. I've got these soft cotton buffers that go into the chuck of my Dremel tool, and it's variable speed so I can start slow. And I've got my Meguiar's Mirror Glaze, and I'll just drop a little bit on the barrel on that side that I polished. I'm going to leave the other side alone, and I start slow, and I've got a little guard right here to keep it from splashing at me so much, and I just slowly spread that polish around on the barrel. And see, by pressing a little bit into it, it slows that buffer wheel down. I'm just going to try to stick to this one side, and then once it's spread out a little bit, then I can increase the speed a notch. I can wipe it down with a microfiber cloth, so the slow speed will just spread it out a little bit so it doesn't splash so much. And then once it's spread out, I can go up a notch, and then I can polish it up with a microfiber cloth, and we start to see that gloss happening. Let's do the cap as well. So that's the unpolished side. There's the polished side. And I'm going to do some of the gold here as well. Slow speed to start, get over that gold as well, and do half of the cap band. Up the speed. Then I move up to my Anderson Pen's Micro Gloss. Again, just a little drop will do you. Spread it on the side that I'm polishing. This is a much finer cut polish. I'm going to start slow again and spread it around. And go up a notch. Then we'll move up to a high speed, but we got to keep the pen moving because the enemy is heat, friction. We'll do the same thing with the burgundy. And we'll go back to the bench and do some further polishing. Okay, so here we are back on the bench, and here's the cap untouched on the burgundy one, and you can see the difference between the barrel and the cap. And I did the cap on the green one and the gold, and you can see the difference between the barrel and the cap. And that gold band, there's the other side of the cap, there's the polished side. So we're going to do a little bit more polishing here of this cap with a polish cloth. This is a jeweler's polish cloth, and these polishing cloths are impregnated with a polishing compound. So they are actually slightly abrasive, but very, very fine abrasive. So I'm going to just give it a rub on the gold, and I polish the entire clip on that one side. So we're going to run it over. That's not dirt, that's gold. Gold turns black when you polish it like that. That's why my fingers are black. So we're just going to wipe this off. A little bit of microfiber cloth. Wipe it down and take a look. There's that clip polished on one side. So there are a couple of scratches there. I didn't go at it with any Micromesh really, but I could if I wanted to and get some of those micro scratches out. And look at that cap band. Almost brand new. I can continue going at that. Now here's the other side. Scratches. Here's the polished side. It's getting there. That clip is looking lovely. Again, the contrast. So we're not done yet either. What we can do, we can add some Conservators wax to this. In the States they call this Renaissance wax. And we get a clean shop towel, get a little bit of Conservators wax, and we can rub down the barrel a little bit, rub down that cap with a little bit just on the side we polished, and then polish it up with a microfiber. You can buff it. And there we go. So beautiful shine with that wax, and it protects it as well. Look at the difference between the cap bands and between that cap and that barrel. And that took me all of about 20 minutes. So there you have it, a little bit of inside information on how to get these plastic pens, celluloid pens, looking brand new again. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease and working patiently through the Micromesh. The key is not to miss a step. So if you miss a scratch that's deeper than 1500, you have to go at it with the 400 grit flexible sandpaper and get that gouge out, because otherwise you're just polishing a scratch brighter and brighter. So if you find that you're going up in these grades and you're not getting some of those marks, you have to go right back to the beginning again and work your way through patiently through all the Micromesh and then through the polishing compounds to make sure you've got all the marks. If after doing all that you find that there's a gouge somewhere, you're going to have to start over again and do that whole thing. And it's hard to feather and do it as a spot kind of a fix. Do the whole pen. That's why it makes sense to take your time and be patient in the earlier, coarser grades. Also, you have to be aware that you don't take off too much material as well with the coarser grades, because you'll put dents and you'll misshape barrels and caps and things like that. So again, patience is the key, going through step by step through the Micromesh and through the polishes to finer and finer grades until you get down to just adding wax to shine it up. And there you have it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. And you can join as a member of my channel for only 99 cents a month, and I guarantee I'll answer your comments in the comment section, and you'll get cool emojis, badges, sneak peek unboxing videos, as well as instant access to my videos the moment I post them. And that just leaves it for me to say, thank you for watching.